Indefinite leave to remain. What are the fast tracks for getting it this year? We're going to have a look at that. Let's make a start on the detail. First of all, I'm Tom Bradford. If you want help with any fast tracks to indefinite leave to remain or citizenship in the UK, by all means, let me know. I'll be happy to help you. You can contact me by email or WhatsApp. So let's have a look at the slide I've prepared for this live stream. And we had a quick look at this yesterday in yesterday's live stream, but I want to focus on the fast tracks. Now, basically, they are these. You can apply for an entrepreneur visa and create 10 full-time jobs. That is then a fast track to indefinite leave to remain after 3 years. Or you can create an increase in turnover of 5 million. So that also gives you a fast track to indefinite leave to remain after 3 years in the UK. Or you can invest under the 5 million investor visa route. That would get you to indefinite leave to remain after 3 years as well. The fastest fast track, if you like, is the investor visa route at 10 million. That gets you indefinite leave to remain after 2 years. So I dealt with an application recently for a South African client who applied under the 10 million route. So that put him on that fast track. In fact, there were also applications for his sons under the same fast track. Let's have a look at the next one. That's the exceptional talent route. That gives you a fast track to indefinite leave to remain after 3 years. Now, what are the criteria for these? So I'm going to have a look at the key extracts with you from the relevant provisions. And we'll have a look at how you can achieve this for yourself. So the routes are relatively restricted, but the criteria are far from impossible to achieve. It really depends on your circumstances. So I'm going to start with the exceptional talent route. You've got to be endorsed by a recognised designated competent body, and these are the Arts Council in England, the British Academy, the Royal Academy, so the Royal Society, so that's for natural sciences and medical science. So that's definitely one which is worth having a look at, which I've had experience of. There's the Royal Academy of Engineering. Again, that's applicable to many applicants. And then there's TechNation for digital technology applications. So we've got a couple of applications at the moment through TechNation. And a point that I've made before is that people often don't realise they can apply under the exceptional talent route. It may be because they're simply modest or they're not even aware of the route existing. So you do see people applying under other routes, entrepreneur visa route and investor visas. And in fact, they could have applied under the exceptional talent route and it could have got them to their intended destination faster. So if you look at the 2 million investor visa route, I have seen people who could have in fact qualified. Didn't instruct me, I didn't advise, but they could have in fact qualified under the exceptional talent provisions. That would have actually got them to indefinite leave to remain faster than investing 2 million in the UK. They could have satisfied the criteria and they would have qualified after 3 years. And if you think about what you have to do to qualify after 3 years under the other visa routes, it's actually quite onerous. So investing 5 million, for example, in UK companies, that for some may be quite a lot of capital to park in UK stock at the moment, and also the other routes. So the entrepreneur routes, they get you to indefinite leave to remain after 3 years. So creating an increase in turnover of 5 million, that's subject to market factors. You can't necessarily determine from the outset or be confident from the outset that you're going to do that. Likewise, creating 10 full-time jobs can be a big administrative burden. So if you can qualify under this and get an endorsement from TechNation, for example, then that's usually preferable. Let's have a look at the other provisions. So the designated competent bodies have two sets of criteria. There's the exceptional talent criteria. That's what we're looking at now for this fast track route. That's for applicants who've already demonstrated that they have made a significant contribution as a leader to their field. Now, there's a distinction between this and the exceptional promise criteria. That's for applicants who may be earlier in their careers but have already shown the potential to make significant contributions as a leader in their field. And that's basically the subject of the endorsement. The relevant bodies confirm whether or not you satisfy the criteria, and after that the civil servant really has to grant the application. I mean, there's still a discretion to refuse it, but once you've got the endorsement from the competent body, your application will very likely go through. So there's a distinction here you can see between promise and potentiality, and you having actually made a significant contribution as a leader in your field. And that's more of an onerous criteria to satisfy. It's easier to satisfy the exceptional promise criteria. There, you might be a PhD student, for example, and you have support from some leading researchers in your field who may be able to secure an endorsement for you through one of those designated bodies. And there it's a question of showing potential, which is easier than showing an actual contribution. However, we do have, in fact, a couple of applications we're doing at the moment. So in one case, a lady who is fantastically intelligent and has made a tremendous contribution in connection with engineering, but it's a software application of that, which will have really great benefits in her field and will potentially save lives. And in fact, she fell between several of those bodies, so she could have actually got an endorsement from at least two of those bodies on the list. Another one is in the technology space, and it's someone who's invented a new form of coding, which is going to have major technological and security implications. So for those two, we're making applications on the exceptional talent basis, in that they have made that contribution. But you don't have to do that. If you want to do that, then you're onto the fast track. But if you just want to go down the potential route, show that you evidence you demonstrate promise, then you're on the 5-track route. Now, an important point here is that, well, does it make any difference, any real difference for you? In order to qualify for British citizenship, you've still got to have 5 years under your belt. So does it really make any difference if you apply for indefinite leave to remain early? Well, for some, it may do, particularly with the uncertainty at the moment around Brexit. I can't see this really affecting EEA nationals, especially under these accelerated routes. And really, given that these routes are intended to incentivise people to come to the UK as opposed to under other programmes in other jurisdictions, I expect that the government will want to maintain particularly this route. I mean, among all of the anti-immigration rhetoric that we see from Theresa May, she has specifically mentioned this route as being evidence of Britain's willingness to encourage the best and the brightest to the UK. So that's the exceptional talent and exceptional promise. I'm going to produce some more videos on this and dive into a bit more detail, but I just want to have a look at the other fast tracks with you now. So we've covered that. Now let's just have a look at the investor visa fast tracks. So if you've invested at least 2 million in the UK, or 5 million or 10 million for accelerated settlement, then you qualify. So this is the key provision here. Let me just zoom in on this. So it's 3 years if you can demonstrate that you've invested 5 million and 2 years if you've invested 10 million. So those are the key provisions. I mean, this is relatively straightforward in terms of satisfying the criteria. It's simply about availability of funds and the origin of funds at the moment. Now you will have probably seen that in the news recently that the investor visa route appeared to have been discontinued, but that was in fact due to a government miscommunication, and which was retracted. Alternatively, the visa route was reinstated, which did shake confidence a bit. But I think the bigger picture is that the government's looking to reform this route. I think it's going to become more difficult to apply onto this route in future. So if you're applying under the current rules now, if the funds are available and they can be invested into shares in UK companies, for example, you can do that through a discretionary fund manager, then it is a straightforward route to satisfy. You may want to have the funds available in an account for 3 months before applying, or the whole due diligence process can be prolonged. However, if you do this, I think in comparison with the other visa routes that get you an accelerated path to settlement, this is possibly the most straightforward. Now, let's have a look at the others. So this is just an extract from the relevant provisions for the entrepreneurs now. You recall we had to look at the entrepreneurs here. So there's the two routes, either 10 jobs, you create 10 jobs, or you increase the revenue by 5 million or more. This is the one which I think is possibly the most onerous to satisfy, just on a practical level, in terms of what you'd have to do. So you can apply, settle in the UK under the entrepreneur visa route after 5 years. Accelerated settlement is available within 3 years for the most successful entrepreneurs who create 10 or more full-time jobs or a business income of 5 million or more. So if you were investing into an existing company, I've talked about this on this channel, then you need to show that there was an increase in income, in revenue from the point at which you invested. So there's got to be some causal connection between your investment and the increase in the income. Or if you've got a complete new co and your application has been granted on that basis, then you can show that the initial revenue was 5 million or more. And within 3 years, that might be quite difficult for most businesses to achieve, unless you've really got a business, perhaps a software business that you can scale up very quickly, or software as a service business, something like that. Alternatively, 10 jobs, creating 10 jobs is easier to control, but you'll have to make sure that all of the regulatory requirements and legal requirements are satisfied. But it goes without saying, but you must pay the minimum wage. If you have, particularly in the tech sphere where people are working voluntarily on a looser basis, it's more fluid, then it can be difficult to evidence you've created those 10 full-time jobs. So it's worth planning ahead, if you want to do that, to make sure you've got all the evidence you need to evidence that and prove that you've created those 10 full-time jobs for the specified period. So look, that's the overview. I hope this was helpful. These are the fast tracks to indefinite leave to remain in the UK. I'll be producing more on this subject soon, so if you do want to subscribe, please feel free to go ahead and do so. If you like this video, hit the like button, and by all means drop me an email or message me on WhatsApp if you want help with any of the matters raised in this video. I'll see you in the next live stream tomorrow. Bye for now.